This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per top.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 unit sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
I just finished traveling Southeast Asia for 41 days, and I usually always get sick when I travel, and quite frankly, eating is difficult for me. It's hard to find a restaurant, and I'm spoiled in Austin with my personal chef. Well, I took these little packets with me this time, 30 of them, in my carry-on suitcase. They kept me totally healthy with 11 different secret ingredients. You can see them at nathanlatka.com/juice. I'll tell you more later on in the show. That's nathanlatka.com/juice. This is episode 663. Coming up tomorrow morning, you'll learn from Ryan Stewart. He tells me how much money his agency made in its first year and how he's built it to over $100,000 per month today. Good morning, everybody. Nathan Latka here, and our guest this morning is Trevor Wolf. He is the CEO and co-founder of a company called Delve.io. He started his career in New York, where he held product innovation and marketing positions for Kantar and TNS, and has also led marketing for New York brands Gerson Lehrman Group, along with MoveLine, which was a Techstars in New York City company, and Morgan Stanley. Throughout his career, he's launched over a dozen analytics and research products and is an active advisor to an investor in market research, ad tech, and media tech startups in New York, Vegas, and South Africa. He holds a BBA in international business from Hofstra University and is an aspiring sailor. In case you're wondering, his cat's name is Junior Girlfriend. I hope we get to hear from Junior too. Trevor, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely. Good to be on it.
Thanks for coming on, man. All right, tell us what Delve.io does, and how do you sustain yourself? What's your revenue model?
Sure. So Delve.io is a platform that allows advertising and marketing professionals to get peer review on their creative campaigns. That's a TV ads, website, apps, before they waste millions of dollars on ineffective ads or ineffective websites or apps. We have two models. First we launched with is Marketplace. So we go to agencies and brands and say, hey, if you don't have the right expertise on this project in-house, we'll help you find it. We'll help you work with those people. We'll get the right questions you need to get your feedback, and then we'll package that and give you back. The new model we actually just launched 2 days ago is a subscription or SaaS-based model where you can do that within your own organization. So a company like Ogilvy, who has 12,000 employees across 83 offices, can start taking advantage of the kind of the human capital that they've invested in, letting a junior graphic designer in New York coordinate and get feedback on a project from a graphic designer in Ogilvy, Australia. But that's only 2 days old.
Okay, so and how old's the company? When did you launch?
We incorporated in March of last year, but we started selling in late April, May of last year.
Okay, that would have been May 2016 if you're listening to this episode later.
Yeah.
So what is the marketplace model? Like, walk us through this. I'm actually specifically interested in like the Ogilvy approach. So like, if someone at Ogilvy is using your platform to leverage somebody else at Ogilvy, how do you make money from that?
So that's the subscription model that we just launched, where it's a per license fee, and it's if the Ogilvy has 12,000 employees and they're each paying somewhere between $5 and $10, that's our monthly fee. But we actually launched with a marketplace, so we went to brands and basically packaged a panel of 30 professionals outside of their organization. And charge them somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 to not only find those people, pay those people, manage the feedback process, but then put it into a nice report and then send it back to them.
Okay, so let's say it's, again, 5,000 to 7,000 kind of per pack of research. What do the professionals get out of that cut? The 30 professionals.
We pay them. So, depending on the market, whether it's a developing or developed market, we pay them anywhere between $50 and $150 per hour that they spend providing feedback on the campaign.
Okay, so let's just go down that line. Let's say it's a $5,000 kind of contract that, let's just stick with Ogilvy, but it's not someone inside Ogilvy. So Ogilvy pays you $5,000. They have, a new website landing page they want your feedback on. You go out and hire 30 professionals to analyze that. Of that $5,000, how much of that will you spend going to the 30 professionals?
Somewhere between 1,500 and 2,200 will be, we call those creative payments, and we kind of do that as cost of goods sold, basically.
Okay. And is a landing page a good example? I mean, is that like something that someone would use you for?
Well, the biggest industry, which is where my co-founder and I spent a lot of our careers in, is the advertising testing. So any campaign, TV campaign, radio campaign, billboard campaign. If Oakley, New York wins a contract to do a TV campaign across 20 countries, they want some certainty that the TV campaign will actually translate to those different markets. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on media, plus production of the campaign, plus analytics. And so if they spend $5,000 to $7,000 per country on testing it, it's a good investment. But we're doing a lot more digital these days because it's easier to sell to clients when they can promise a increase in conversion on their mobile app or website.
Yeah.
But the majority of revenue is still TV, radio.
Okay. And when you look at kind of total since your launch last year, how many unique buyers like Ogilvy have used you?
So the majority of our client base for this marketplace model has been brands. We're working with about 17 different brands like Unilever, Pernod Ricard, GSK, Barclays, L'Oreal. They're working with us in about 10 different countries. So we did about 180,000 since May in marketplace. We call it marketplace sales.
Oh, great! And how many professionals have you paid at least $50 to do some amount of research?
I think somewhere between 700 and 1,200 across 10 to 12 countries.
And contractors, right?
Yeah, some of them work at agencies and just have 30 minutes to an hour to spare on their free time to do a little project, which is very stimulating for them. As much as it is nice for their wallet, but they're also getting stimulated by working on other projects and seeing brands that they typically wouldn't have access to.
Yep, it's like a nice creative break.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So again, brand pays $5,000 to get the research done. You pay on average $1,500 to $2,200 to experts to give feedback on it. So it's fair to say you're profiting somewhere around $2,500 in terms of gross margin, kind of per contract.
Yeah, that's somewhere between 40 and 60, depending on financial transaction fees and et cetera, et cetera.
And what is your team size to date?
We have 8 full-time and a few contractors and a few interns.
Okay, and are you guys all where are you based?
Johannesburg, South Africa.
I love that. So do you get some advantage there in terms of headcount expenses staying low?
They're probably 1/8 the price it would cost us to run the business in Europe or North America. And there's amazing qualitative researchers here in South Africa. So it's been easy to kind of pull them from the traditional research firms and give them some equity investment, but also better salary and still save cost. And it's been great for us.
And for a guy like me that's thinking about visiting South Africa and maybe staying there for a while to run my tech company, you don't have any issues with the government or internet speeds or anything like that?
Internet speeds, no. That's electricity, yes, but internet speeds, no.
What do you mean electricity? It goes out daily or what?
We have what are called load shedding. So once a week or once every 2 weeks, the electricity will run out and power across the city will go out for a few hours.
Oh my gosh.
If they're nice, they'll give you advance warnings, and most businesses are forced to kind of buy generators and prepare for the worst. So
I wouldn't be able to move there and have scheduled podcast interviews because I would have no idea if I'd have power or not.
I have friends that run some of the more popular podcasts out here, and they do it all on their computer just in case, no internet, and they go in person to do it.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. What about funding? Self-funding, or have you raised capital?
So Ramon and I didn't take a salary for about. Ramon is my co-founder, by the way.
Okay.
He's South African. I met him here in Johannesburg. He and I forfeited salary for about 6 months and put everything we had in our bank accounts into the business to kind of finance the first sales hire and finance the technology platform.
Which was how much?
We sacrificed our salary for 6 months, so I'm not going to count that. But of our own money to get the platform up and the sales, about 10,000 in the first half of the year, and then we actually raised about $300,000 from angel investors.
Okay, so about $310,000 total funding.
Yeah, exactly.
And how did you, for someone? Well, first off, how old were you when you launched this?
32.
And
first founding First-time founder.
Yeah. And how did you get yourself from a life perspective positioned to be able to put all your savings into a new idea? Like I mean, are you single, no kids, no animals, no expenses?
I have a fiance, but I had actually done pretty well in the stock market in the U.S. and had some savings, and I kind of depleted those as much as possible, put some on the credit card, and then just a patient fiance as well.
That's a critical piece. What are your total, when you look at just your personal expenses, rent, food, gas, transportation, all that per month, what have you kept those under?
Well, fortunately, housing in South Africa is pretty cheap as well. So, all in less than $2,000.
That's pretty good. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And do you live pretty good down there?
Yeah, I traded my shoebox of apartment in New York for a 4-bedroom house here with a garden and a pool. And
what? What do you pay just for that? Well, like $1,000 per month?
A little bit more than that, but
wow.
Less than $2,000. And for a small little studio I had in Brooklyn, I'm now living like a
king.
Like
a South African king. I love it. And last question here before we wrap up. Talk to me about kind of growth and velocity. So like last month, let's say February 2017, how many unique Unilevers put a project through you?
So we have about $80,000 in contracts this month in March, 4 or 5 new logo clients. But kind of what we always realize is that even this model that we're doing, kind of staffing up to facilitate these projects wasn't fast enough. And that's why we really wanted to push this SaaS-based platform, which, we launched in 2 days, and we already have a couple hundred private beta users signing up from every single agency in the world.
How much revenue so far is the SaaS thing? It's only 2 days old.
Yeah, we haven't talked to them about pricing. We're thinking about doing per seat model, but we are launching it a little bit more publicly, I guess, on your podcast. But we're finalists in the Startup World Cup in San Fran next week.
Oh, great!
In front of 2,000 VCs. We're going to be starting our seed round of about $1 million.
That's great. What are you? Are you going to do that on an equity round or convertible note?
Equity. We did a price round here because the one of the investors asked for it, and I was actually curious to go through the most painful process as possible, so I'm prepared for a bigger round.
Yeah.
And doing a price round in South Africa was probably more overwhelming than I expected, but we got through it, and I think we'll do a price round for our seed as well.
What was your pre-money on the $300K you raised?
A little under 1.6 or 7, depending on what the currency. We did it in South African rand, so post about 2 million. And
that was on, call it 180 grand in kind of previous 9 months worth of sales.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a pretty healthy valuation, I'd say.
I think it's probably the best deal a founder has struck in South African venture capital market.
Yeah. Was the angel you invested in, do they have American ties, or was it, I mean, how'd you find that investor down there?
The UK investor I had known through a few other businesses. So his name is Kevin Gaskell. He's former managing director of BMW and Porsche in Europe. And then there's a local fund here called Havayak, and former private equity guys that probably the most founder-friendly VC firm in South Africa. And we bumped into them and struck a good relationship, and they kind of saw our vision and didn't argue over the unimportant stuff, and they've been amazing.
So guys, I'm so glad to be back in Austin. I just got back from a major tour of Southeast Asia, went to Sydney, Bangkok, Bali, and Japan. And, I always get sick when I travel. And this particular trip, my gosh, 15 different airports, 20 different hotels. I mean, imagine flushing in airport bathrooms. I was worried about germs and getting all the nutrition I need. I mean, finding a restaurant in Japan, difficult because nothing's in English. So it's hard enough to figure out the train system. But my point is, I had a guy named Drew Canoli on the show who said, Nathan, if you're concerned about that, take these little green packets with you. You just mix them once per day with water. They'll keep you super healthy. You get all your nutrients, and they'll keep you from getting sick. So I took them. And guys, they worked unbelievably well. I got no sickness, just mixed them with water once per day. It didn't make my water bottles all sticky. That's nice. A lot of these mixers, they make them sticky. It was very clean and smooth. Took them once per day, never got sick. So they've got 11 superfoods, and they're perfect if you're not traveling, but you're just on the go from your office to work. So you can check them out at nathanlatka.com/juice. That's nathanlatka.com/juice. That's great. Awesome. Well, hey, let's wrap up here with the Famous Five. Trevor, number one, what's your favorite business book?
I'm a big fan of autobiographies, so anything by Tracy Kidder, who did Soul of a New Machine, or Robert Caro, who did the LBJ biographies. I'm actually reading The Power Broker, Robert Moses, his kind of rise to fame. It's an 800-page book, so it'll take me a couple months to get through. But I find inspiration in how, in the toughest environments of politics, some of these people survive and get through, for better or worse.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying currently?
Steve Belsky, I guess he's not a CEO anymore, but founder of Behance that exited to Adobe for $100 million. He has this very interesting, I wouldn't call it contrarian, but softer approach to how product and product design is done. And so since a product is meant for the creative industry, there's no one better than to look to him for inspiration.
Is there a favorite online tool you have, like Acuity Scheduling?
So just a shout out to you. I'm looking at a more efficient email provider, so I'm looking at the Top Inbox.
Oh, nice,
but
cool.
I haven't implemented it yet. Of course, Slack is probably the most used tool in our organization right now.
Yeah. What kinds of things would you be looking for on the topinbox.com to make it kind of valuable for your organization?
So I still do a lot of sales. I'm going to be doing this fundraising round, and I'm terrible at follow-up, even from people that express interest in me. I just drop the ball a lot. So instead of having my sales team remind me that I need to send emails, the probably mature thing to do is just get a technology that will alert me when I need to follow up.
Yeah, it's so funny because I used, before I bought the company, I was using it when I did my funding round for almost the exact same reason. I was just horrendous at follow-up, and when I started using it, 80% of my follow-ups came after like the fourth follow-up email I sent.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
yeah.
I'm a digital marketer by background, so I should know this stuff, but it just you lose track sometimes.
It's tough. All right, number four. How many hours of sleep do you get every night?
So I'm getting up at 5:30 3 days a week to do training as a way of kind of getting ready for my wedding. So on those days, about 5.5 to 6. On other days, 6 to 7.
And it sounds like you're engaged?
Yes.
And so no kids yet, right?
No kids, no.
And how old are you again?
33.
So last question. Take us back 13 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Staying on the marriage theme. So my current fiance went to the same university I did, but I didn't get to meet her until 6 years later. So I'd tell my 20-year-old self to go find her at a party, or go find her and meet her, and get to spend another 5 years with her.
You're going to be married for a long time. There you guys have it from Trevor. Go find your spouse faster. He's got a lot of experience at a lot of different companies. Jumped in himself when he turned 30 by launching his company Delve.io. Again, just launching a SaaS model. Basically, brands pay him to test their advertising content before they go and put it live and spend millions and millions and millions of dollars with it being live. They get a chance to learn from him and his researchers before, again, it goes live. They've done about $200,000 in total transaction volume. Average contract size about $5,000 per month. $5,000 per kind of advertising test. They pay their experts between $1,500 and $2,200 out of that $5,000 to, again, review the ad content and then get that feedback back to the researcher. They're processing in this month about $80,000 worth of contracts. Again, they're a team of 8 based in Johannesburg, South Africa. Trevor, thank you for taking us to the top.
Yeah, my pleasure, Nathan.
If you enjoyed Trevor today, go back and listen to yesterday's episode, where a CEO comes on and shares with me how they've built their product to $425,000 per month in revenue. It all started with their first 100 customers. It would mean the world to me if you guys got any value from this episode, if you would go leave a review on iTunes right now and then subscribe. I hustle like heck to get these episodes out every freaking day for you guys, and trust me, I love it. I would do it with no listeners, but boy, oh boy, it makes my day, and it makes my team's day when we see great reviews and get your feedback. So thanks so much. Okay, Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google Ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google right when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan.